RTD Live Talk, Detroit's #1 YouTube talk show. We are live for a Thursday edition of the People's Talk Show. Excited to be back. Looking forward to connecting and finding out what's on your radar. And also, it's been a while since I've done the face to face. So today, perhaps instead of taking phone calls, I might just throw out a link and have any brave souls that want to join me face to face for a quick moment to share a thought, similar to a phone call. Join me on screen and let your voice be heard, ask a question, share a thought, or whatever it might be. So be on the lookout for that if you're interested in letting your face be seen on the talk show. So looking forward to connecting. And as always, for those that are new to the community, let us know where you're watching from via the chat. We'd love to give you a quick shout out. And then when the phone lines open up, if they do, 313-462-0027 is the number that you can call. Or I'll put the link out there in a moment so you guys can join us that way. So, all right, let's dive in, man. Lots of things unfolding. Just, I guess, just a more heightened sense of things that are already underway, rather. So I've been, did a video earlier, whatever, in regards to the food crisis, the energy situation, and how as time moves forward, the more and more it just appears that the sanctions being thrown at Russia from the West is one half of the equation. But then again, on the other side, it's interesting to see how, despite the narratives we're hearing from that region, I've seen more than enough videos now, live footage from those regions, predominantly Ukraine and Russia, that paints an entirely different story, which once again leads you to just question everything that you hear, especially what you see. And with Russia, or Putin in particular, deciding to deliberately close off his own economy because of the sanctions is what is being painted on his part, but ultimately because by Russia being such a naturally rich chunk of land and them basically being able to self-contain themselves for quite some time, it just brings more of a concern to the whole food crisis that is already underway, and how by them self-sanctioning themselves as well as the West continue to do the damage that they're doing. Food is going to be definitely be an issue, as well as water and things of that nature. So we're going to touch on a little bit of everything and go from there. But keeping it moving forward, we know the natural circumstances occurring. We have the practical things that we can do, and ultimately all falls into the hands of the good Lord Himself to steer you in the direction He wants you to head into. So, let me just jump into a couple articles or whatnot and go through some headlines, and then I'll open up the face-to-face portion so we can just let our voices be heard or faces be seen or whatever, however it may go. All right. So let me just jump right in. So just some headlines, more figures thrown our way. Take them with a grain of salt because they're still lowball figures, but I thought I would just start with that. But it says Dow off 200 points as the U.S. inflation stays at a 40-year high. And then it says Ukraine and Russia talks see no progress. So numbers that were thrown us today, very low in comparison to what people actually feel in their pockets. But the 7.9 figure CPI is just one number that's thrown out there. But then again, on the as this website here, the confoundedinterest.net, the writer of this blog here does a good job of diving even deeper. And when you see these figures here, it paints a much different picture than what they're trying to have us believe. But here, I just read the headlines real quick. It says Atlanta's Fed flexible price CPI soars to 20% this past month. And then also, Biden's misery index, now the highest in modern American history. So the misery index, when you take the current amount of reported inflation along with the unemployment, you factor those together, you get a nice little number. And that number has surpassed all prior numbers for the last 50 years, 60 years, give or take. So as you guys can see here real quick, just, these are some real figures here from Fred, or the Federal Reserve website here. It says flexible CPI, a weighted basket of items that change precise price relatively frequently, increases 19.76% annualized in February. So ultimately, this is the number of a bigger, a wider assortment, a much wider assortment than your typical core CPI. And then you take away food and energy, which of course are the primary components to sustain human life. But when you broaden the basket and remove two important items, you get a much higher number. You get 19.76. And so that's more in line with what probably more people are experiencing when they actually go out and do their normal shopping and things of that nature, depending on, of course, what item you're looking to purchase. And then here you have that number I was just showing, the misery index. It says if you added the U3 unemployment rate, we get a misery index under Biden at 23.56, the highest in modern history, worse than the Carter era inflation malaise. And so CPI year over year plus U3 unemployment rate, all time high is 23.56. So that's what's happening in the real world on Main Street. Regardless of what the mainstream news try to tell us, this is what people are actually feeling. And the misery index ultimately just shows a lack of confidence in the economy. It's just a true indicator as to how the pulse on the streets, as to the way the people who matter the most, the working portion of society, this is what they're feeling on average. Not everybody's included, but yet your average Joe and Jane, I'm sure, might be having some concerns that would fit into this misery calculation here. All right, let's keep it moving. So let me just get to more things here. Here is also something that I think is going to be interesting because this kind of resembles the whole Evergrande real estate contagion that never really took off to the level that we were anticipating due to it being contained and being swept under a rug all amongst all the other distractions that were thrown our way. And so here it says Russia's imminent default will have harsh ripple effects, and here's why. So ultimately, uh, overall, Russians' sovereign debt is relatively low, speaking in regards to their overall gross domestic product. So it's on a smaller scale out of all the top G20 nations, but it still adds up to several $billions of just their sovereign bond market. And it looks like a lot of Western financial institutions, in a way of trying to further their ability to earn interest on their assets that they're holding for their investors, they are invested in Russia to the tune of several billions, nothing too far fetched. But then again, we have the issue now by Russia being closed off from the financial world, shortage of dollars, inability for Russia or their lack of desire really to probably meet those dollar denominated obligations. They're going to try to shuffle the deck and use the ruble, which is automatically a haircut for all the institutions that are expecting some type of payoff from the debt that they purchased as an investment instrument. And just to give you an idea of what is going on out here, here is something that PIMCO, a Western, a pretty big Western audio says, call in, Carl. We got audio. Let me know if everything's sounding good on my side. My microphone is on, so it should be good. But just going through some headlines here, some things that caught my attention. And of course, I'll open the phone lines in a minute or do the video face to face and let you guys share your thoughts. But PIMCO faces potential losses over exposure to more than 1 billion in Russia debt. So you might say 1 billion, that's chump change. Technically speaking, in comparison to the trillions and quadrillions worth of products out there, it is. But once again, that 1 billion belongs to an investor over here in the Western world, i.e., a pension fund, some type of money market account situation, or some other product that they spun out there that your average person who worked hard for theirs turned over to PIMCO to invest on their behalf. And here we go. They may not be able to have that investment turn a profit the way that it was sold to the average person on the other end using that as an investment tool. So that's why I think the contagion side of things between the real estate exposure in China, the Russian situation, on top of all the other, because when you go through these articles here, it just talks more about how not only are just PIMCO, but there's in every country around the world, they're all invested in debt from Russia in particular, and they stand a chance of being defaulted upon or being given an automatic haircut if they're paid in rubles, which of course are not as strong as they were prior to all this stuff going on here. So just more of the confusion and the whole debt-based Ponzi scheme system that we're in. And so, of course, for those that are aware and awake and know how to profit off this, it's a great opportunity because For every trade on the other end of that, there's somebody looking to short that or to utilize those financial complex things to profit off of it. So, but anyway, keep it moving. And so this gets into what I really want to touch on. This happens to be about the food situation because by Russia basically closing themselves off as far as actually exporting the things that the world needs. The West is focusing on shutting off their dollar access and their banking access and freezing assets. Okay, that's all fine and good. That will hurt. That'll cause pain. But yet, when a nation has an overwhelming abundance of real world tangible items, whether it be all the things that come like fertilizers, you got oil, you got the wheat, the grain, you name it, that's what we really need. And so they are self-contained, meaning their people eventually will be able to be sustained this spring and summer come harvest time. And there's more talk about how the agricultural minister of finance or whoever from Russia is talking about them they're expecting to have a nice crop regardless of what all the confusion is happening around the world. But anyway, it says global food prices will rise further if West intensifies its economic sanctions on Russia, warns Vladimir Putin. And so I had a chance to watch one of his little videos earlier. He's talking about how the West is blaming him, how the West is blaming him for the inflationary pressures and the increase in everything on this side of the world. He was just basically laughing. But yet, of course, we all know it's a joke. We had issues well before then. And to keep it moving, more things worth talking about here. Here is another situation in the ECB. So outside of the West, basically going at it alone with cutting off Russian gas exports, it looks like the ECB has changed their tune to the fact that they're going to try to tighten as well a lot faster than they anticipated. At the same time, everything is slowing down, which doesn't make any sense other than it eventually causing more pain, but to be expected. But it says European Central Bank surprises markets with move to wind down stimulus sooner than planned. Right. Their entire economy is literally in the negative right now, and it's been sustained with stimulus, and they're talking about stopping. Yeah, that's to me a primary indicator of literally the credit market will seize up majorly in euros as well as in dollars, just because the shortage of the dollar denominated currency units needed to meet the current obligations. That's going to be more of a problem. So, market hiccup for sure is in the making. And then had a couple articles here. Here's another one that I thought was interesting. So it looks like perhaps, I'm not sure, but due to the Canadian police seizing 28 million in Bitcoin, they extradited what looks like a Canadian government worker, if I'm not mistaken, if I read that correctly, uh, to the U.S. And so that 28 million in Bitcoin, assumably, will not make its way back to its owners. So therefore, I'm not sure what happened with the current stash that allegedly was confiscated. Was it 2 months ago from the boyfriend girlfriend couple that put off the greatest crypto heist in human history? But it looks like their governments, whether it be the U.S. or Canada, I'm not sure, they're accumulating a stockpile of Bitcoin for their own usage to use against the people. I don't know, but we're going to find out pretty soon as well. So TB says 28 million again. So I know the last amount, TB, let me know, was a lot greater than 28 million, if I'm not mistaken. But once again, I thought this was interesting because governments are getting their bags up as well. So we'll see how all this plays out. What else? But here's the last one. I'll open up the face to face and get your guys' thoughts on what's going on. But just more information out the East, take it for what it's worth. But it's my firm opinion that the Russian people, and I actually saw some videos and about Kiev, if I'm saying that correctly. You guys know what I'm talking about. On how the mainstream media is painting this picture that there's bombs going off everywhere and people are scrambling. Of course, I'm seeing pictures that are outdated, but there's a YouTube channel that I'll probably try to grab that has a live stream and even people walking the streets, and there's no bombs going off. There's no craziness, and it just goes into more of the painting of a very dark and doom and gloom picture coming from the West about events happening in Ukraine. And according to the videos I've seen thus far, I haven't seen nothing of the sort. So Just more information that should make you question every single thing. But it says Russia will emerge stronger, and it's as a response to all the sanctions and things like that. Because with a statement like that, that lets me know, or it hints at the fact that they have prepared for this. So they probably have, stockpile of things needed. As I mentioned before, they're heavily natural resources, so that's something that they still have, and it's something that they can use to provide for their people. And on top of that, this is all a part of the whole transition to the next monetary system. And of course, gold or some capacity is going to be included. So their vaults are pretty heavy, I'd imagine. And that whole Siberia region is naturally rich and loaded with all types of things. So we'll see how it goes. But thought I would just bring that up and let you guys know what's going on. And also, just for my people out there, I've tried to read comments or whatever. And based upon a video I did earlier in regards to food, like right now, however, whatever you do to, I guess, further prepare for your, being able to survive some things. Actually, on this upcoming Monday, I have an author joining us who was in a very interesting situation. So I'm going through his reading material now just to familiarize myself with just some more prepping type of things that I'm not even familiar with, other than just the obvious. You get your water, you get your food, and things like that. Make sure you hunker down as best you can. But yet, once again, that type of stuff can only last you so long. And even if you got a warehouse underground somewhere, eventually it's going to run out. But it's just one of the things where you can do the best you can to prepare. So, and as I always mentioned, just on the practical side, whenever I get some extra crumbs, get my weight, get my calories, get everything else, and make sure that I can, just hedge against possible tough times that are coming sooner than later. So I encourage you to do the same. Anyway, let's get ready to talk. I want to make sure we can connect. So what I want to do today, a little bit different, was make sure that we can connect. I want to do the face to face. So if anybody out there, we got about 174 people or so tuned in. If you're enjoying the back and forth thus far, or just hanging out in the community, being amongst like-minded people, hit that thumbs up, show your support for the channel, and make sure you click the bell notification. I'm noticing that more people are getting notified now, so that's a good thing. So uh, that's always good to be notified. Red Boy, appreciate you, my friend. Thank you for that love offering. And I also saw another super chat. Let me acknowledge that real quick. Vicious People, appreciate you, man. It says debtclock.org not showing the gold to silver ratio. Okay, that right there could be interesting. Let's check that out. Maybe something. Let's see what we got here. Gold to silver ratio. I'm seeing something on my end. May not be fresh. Let me go to the far right of the screen real quick. The dollar gold ratio now. So I'm seeing something on my end. To the far right of the screen, dollar to gold ratio. And then you said dollar, said gold to silver ratio. Yeah, gold to silver ratio. That the gold to silver ratio, dollar to crypto ratio. Okay, dollar to crypto ratio, paper to silver, dollar to gold, gold to silver. Okay. All right. So I'm assuming if they had it on here, it'd have been on this side. I don't recall actually seeing it before. So that's interesting if that's the case, because I'm not familiar with actually seeing a dollar to gold ratio on this particular chart here. All right, so let me click this real quick. So as you guys can see, I just put out there in the chat a chance for you guys to connect face to face. So if you want to join me for a quick minute, share your thoughts or let your voice be heard, feel free to do that. It says your mic sounds different. Uh-oh. So give me 1 second. What I probably made a mistake. Mic sounds different. Sure enough. Using the wrong mic. I was using a camera mic. So the whole time you guys were listening to the camera mic. So I'm sure it sounds different, but hopefully it wasn't too bad. Lawrence Franklin says, I never seen it there before either. Yeah. So assuming it probably the gold to silver ratio was not there, because I tend to go to gold silver just to check it out. Let me see, gold to silver ratio. Let me see what top sites pop up on DuckDuckGo. Gold to silver ratio, gold to silver ratio. So goldprice.org pops up. And even that gold to silver ratio. Okay, so here, it's been a while since I've used this, but here is what pops up on goldprice.org. This is the gold to silver ratio. So zooming all the way out, just go 5 years. We can see we got up to, 126 ounces of silver for 1 ounce of gold. We're a long ways from there.
And based upon all the activity and the global rush towards getting physical weight in preparation for the light switch that will be turned on when the Eastern Hemisphere decides to announce some type of new payment structure using gold and eventually probably some gold-backed crypto for exchange purposes. That's when I can see that ratio dropping a lot lower because silver will follow as the poor man's gold, if you want to put it that way. But anyway, it says better now. Okay, so yeah, apologize for that. And that's one of the things we're switching back and forth with cameras. You have to deal with that. All right, what else we got here? So feel free to throw out some thoughts or join me face to face. We'll talk, hang out for a quick minute. What else you guys keep an eye on? So here's also something that I thought I posted in the Discord. So also for those tuning in, make sure if you want to share stuff throughout the day, I encourage you to check in via the Discord and Telegram. That information is down below. And that's a good way of just connecting with your own. And here is something that I just thought I would share this. But it looks like WNBA player, and this is old, so I think it's just coming out now in March. But I want to say it first happened in February, but just wasn't important enough to be used by the mainstream media as a focal point. But it just says Russia may use detained WNBA star Brittany Griner as a quote high-profile hostage as tensions rise between Russia and the U.S., according to a former Pentagon official who spoke to Yahoo Sports. So a Pentagon official spoke to Yahoo Sports. So she's probably like, that's a picture. They say it's an official picture of her holding up, whatever. I question that, but it's coming from Yahoo Sports. But as of now, WNBA players in Russia, and apparently she was attempting to leave the country, or I think she was either going in or coming out, and she had some cannabinoid cartridges from her vape pen or something like that in her bag. And apparently it's illegal over there to have that type of paraphernalia. So she was arrested, and they're saying that she can get up to 10 years. So, who knows how that goes. But American citizen, probably doing a little bit of time in Russia, I'm sorry. Belly dance. It says take out your pensions, your 401ks while you still can. Buy some PMs. Yeah. So at this point of the game, especially over the last 2 years, we've witnessed so many events that people who actually had interest in doing so, it was a lot easier to do it under the whole relief programs that were thrown out there. I think it was a CARES Act, which gave a time window for people to liquidate if they wanted to for emergency's sake. And so I know several people in the community did do such. Some people wish they would have. But I think the motto of if you don't hold it, you don't own it will be something that we're going to witness sooner than later. And all the promises to pay, mind you, they're all denominated in a currency that's being rebranded as we speak. So with that comes a complete revaluation of all asset classes, either downward or upward, depending on where it ranks in the whole asset bubble paradigm. Let me see. Rolf says buy silver at $100. Not quite yet. I don't think the premiums are that high. And speaking of which, for those that are plugged in, for our stackers out there that buy online, what are some of your favorite spots that you guys use, and have you noticed a difference in the premiums? So let me go to a couple that I'm familiar with. And due to the increased premiums online, I personally have dialed back on doing it online just because of the cost. But then again, depending on who you deal with, you might get a discount. I know a lot of people are messing with Miles Franklin. I know that Josh, Elijah, and them guys over there do a good job. So just looking online real quick, let me see here. I see what looks like the cheapest from SD Bullion. So credit card is $31.95 for just a 1 ounce silver buffalo. And so that, that seems about $6 or give or take, $6-7 over spot. That's probably one of the cheapest online, probably. Not sure. What else you guys out there use? AppMax, Monumental Metals, ST Provident. Yeah, that's a nice little assortment. Nice little assortment too of people out there to get your weight up. Uriel says Gold and Silver Exchange in Dallas is selling Eagles for 37 because demand is that bad and they can't keep up. Right. So Silver Eagles, I've noticed that as well. Are definitely almost damn near double the premium just because of the prestige perception of the U.S. coinage. And I'm not one of those guys that's like, it's better than the rest or not. It's just at the end of the day, I want to make sure I have the elemental metal with, I think the was it let me check this out real quick. I was actually doing some studying on my side trying to better understand the chemical composition and what makes silver so unique from the atomic level. It's one of a kind and all those things like that. So yeah, this whole area here right now is it's a preferred destination for people who realize the importance of positioning themselves early on multiple fronts. So not only do we have that zero carbon emissions agenda for the next 10 years, where only way that you can accomplish that is if you secure enough of a position in a lot of these elements here for this green world they're trying to create. And then on top of that, every item we use has some form of silver in it and other metals in it as well. So we can see the fact that with all this price action, nickel and just the uranium. So it looks like uranium with Russia deciding to close off their uranium. That right there is definitely going to cause a squeeze in the uranium market. Therefore, I saw something about Rick Rule earlier. Rick was always big on uranium, so he's definitely positioned well, I'm sure. But it says U.S. ban on Russian energy imports does not include uranium, and so that's as of 2 days ago. But as a counter to that, I think Putin and Russia have decided to take their own uranium off the market, which will definitely cause hiccups for the West. So, have you noticed how the so-called sanctions from the West, they're very selective. They're only on items that the U.S. appears to be able to do without, but then underneath the surface, apart from just the recent with the oil situation, and I'm assuming there's other things that they have not included on the sanction list that we are probably not even aware of. But it's all about how can they get away with this, making it seem like it's big and bad, but under the surface they still got some things flowing back and forth. And so I think as a response to that, Putin's going to probably start cutting off a lot of those things that we may not even hear about under the surface. But anyway, anybody interested in joining me face to face, saying a quick shout out, saying what's up, feel free to do so. Put the link out there if you guys want to join in. Gold, let me see here. Gold, yeah. So here's something that it will continue moving forward. It's the flip flop of the preferred push towards the digital space. When good news comes out, you're gonna see all green candles on all the altcoins, of course, Bitcoin. But then again, when people are not really paying attention, the rest of the world, predominantly central banks as well as the emerging markets, they're the ones that are more concerned with getting physical right now, any and everything they can. And so we're going to see more green candles when it comes to gold and silver. And it's just interesting how within a 24-hour period from alleged good news coming out about the crypto space and regulation seems favorable, but once again, nothing was really defined. But cryptos did well, and all of a sudden now they're in the red. So here we got some green activity on the silver and gold side. And just a moment ago when I looked at it, it was above 2,000. So the fact that it's at 2,000 right now, and just think about this. 1 ounce of gold costs 2,000 pieces of paper, where 40, 50 years ago, it was $45 all the way up to 800. And to this day, from a statutory standpoint, on the Federal Reserve's balance sheet, the certificates attached to the alleged gold inside Fort Knox is priced at, I think, is what, $40.22, if I'm not mistaken. So that's a major disconnect. A major disconnect. All right, let me see here. We got somebody might be joining us. Let me see here. Preferably, face to face, meaning I can see your face, so I know who I'm speaking with. So let me know if you could join me face to face, and I'll bring you on here. Keep it moving. Gold is still 35 USD. So, Tone TB, refresh my memory. Is that the current price that's on the Federal Reserve balance sheet? Because I was under the impression it was $40. Gold price on Fed balance sheet. Let me see. Yeah, and another thing is, outside of all this gold activity, I haven't heard, or even none of our compromised politicians have even mentioned gold of any kind. So yeah, it looks like it's 42. So it said the gold certificates were last marked to market in 1971 at a price of $42.22. So 1 ounce was marked to market 50 years ago at $42. And so, and I hear people say that the possibility of the Federal Reserve, not the Federal Reserve, if stuff hit the fans, the Federal Reserve would readjust the actual dollar price of gold to counter all the liabilities they created. Likelihood is probably not positive. It's not happening, but it sounds good. Looks like we got Mr. LBP about to check in with us.
Hey, Mike, how's it going? Am I live?
LBP, I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
Good, good. Just got off work. I had to hurry up. I'm in a parking lot. I had to get out of the workspace.
Understandable, man. What's going on
Yeah,
with you? What else is going on, man?
nothing new, man. Waiting for this silver. What do you call it? The force majeure they call it, and I don't know. They keep slamming it, Mike. I'm getting upset.
Why, man? Because when watch this. If it's true that silver, if it's the last thing to break, then that means everything else in the agricultural commodity space will probably also do even greater numbers. Therefore, gas pump gonna be a problem, food gonna be a problem, and it's gonna be complete pandemonium, man. Like, do you really want that?
Yes, Mike. I've been waiting for it. I want total destruction, Mike. I don't want people to starve, but I guess it's just gonna happen. I can't do anything about that.
Yeah, that's true. But once again, I'm patient, man, because I know once we get to that point, there's no going back. And right now, outside of what we're aware of, things are relatively calmly, in a calm sense. But yet, when silver breaks the banking cartels manipulation, that's game over. And I'm not excited for that myself. I've always said that. I'm very patient.
Mhm. It's gonna be fun, Mike, and everybody. I'm gonna be dancing in the streets when it's all going on. That stuff's hitting the fan or whatever.
Yeah.
Everybody at work's gonna be like, "That guy, he was right. He was right."
Oh man. Well, hey man, I appreciate you joining, man. It's good to see you. I ain't saw you in a while.
All right.
You growing your hair back out?
No, it's short. It's short. Hey, Mike, I was gonna say, when you gonna swing by, Mike?
I keep putting it off, man. So I got a couple trips I want to make. I want to make it down to the Texas region as well as down to Mexico to see Mr. Dennis, who's also trying to join us. Let me go ahead and put Dennis on here real quick.
Go for
it. It says, Dennis, if you're paying attention, it says you got to connect your devices. So your device is not connected. So once you do that, you'll be able to join us. But anyway,
is that the guy in Yakima or whatever he said?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
And his device isn't connected, but when he get on here, we'll put him on. So it says Mike come down to Florida. Yeah, Florida. I go to Florida. Not often, but go down there enough. But Florida is where everybody's. It's the chosen destination. I'm hearing it's getting kind of pricey down there now. Oh man,
yeah,
what else is going on, LBP? How the kids, man?
Everything's good, Mike. It's like financially, I'm doing the best I've ever been. As far as food, I got the more. I don't know. People's panicking. It's like, man, it's like life's never been better, Mike.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is.
Hey,
all this
good.
chaos,
Blessed, man.
Things are getting better. Yeah,
You're
exactly.
Blessed. You and all the LBPs. How about that seventh? Is that seventh on the way or what?
No, Mike. I think that's it. I think the factory shut down. I had problems in the factory, you know. Oh, I was gonna tell you, look, man, I got this neighbor, right?
Uh-huh.
He's Indian or Pakistani. I'm not 100% sure, right?
Hmm.
So I was talking to him and I told him about your channel, right?
Hmm.
So like this was like a few months ago, and I seen him yesterday, and he's got a tinfoil turban, Mike. He got a
Really?
tinfoil turban, yeah.
And so it came up in conversation, or he was wearing it, or what happened?
I just joking with you, Mike. I just joking with a tinfoil
Oh,
turban. I just messing with you. I tell people about you, Mike, but I also tell them about the whole the whole thing, the whole monetary thing, and it's
yeah.
just like people don't see it. Like there was a lady at work, and she was all like, "Oh, they're killing babies. I saw a lady holding two babies." I hope she don't watch this shit, but anyways, she's like, "They were holding two babies. They're Ukrainians. We need to send them all this help." I'm like, dude, they've been bombing Yemen for like 10 years, and nobody gives a crap about those people.
Right. Ethiopia, Sudan, Syria, and a couple
Hmm.
more are literally being bombed right now, and nothing, crickets. So it all goes to show that it catered towards the West agenda. Nobody else cares, man. Like I ain't see no fundraising for Yemen. They've been bombed for damn near a decade plus, and it's all about oil.
Hmm.
So
And
yeah, man.
this one, yeah, this one cat. He told me. Well, he told me he was watching Glenn Beck, right?
Mhm.
I think, well, not Glenn Beck. What the heck's his name? That Tucker Carlson guy. He said, but I didn't watch the actual thing. He told me, oh, Putin, he invaded another nation. He needs to be erased and all these threats and stuff. I'm like, where were you when they invaded Iraq and Afghanistan?
Hey, and that's the media. So I was watching something today. They were talking about it's called information psyop something or another in
Hmm.
regards to how Twitter, Facebook, and all those primary social media platforms that have been chosen by the Pentagon and Department of Defense, whatever, and the algorithms they put in place literally to use our phones and our computers as weapons against us to only portray certain image and according to our emotional calculations of what we click on the most. And so literally every
Hmm.
time you swipe through your phone, if you stop on something for a second, they know you like it, so they're gonna feed you more of it. And they'll, what I'm saying? So that
Hmm.
type of stuff, how like just the fact that we like media has been weaponized against us on top of everything else. So that's why you'll never hear anything about any other nation, just because it's not out there. And if it was out there, most people wouldn't even pay no attention because it's that much of it in comparison to the Ukraine stuff that's being bombarded with us. When you got celebrities wearing pins, and I even got
It's
asked
crazy.
to donate to a Ukrainian fund on Facebook. I'm like, I never stopped and scrolled on nothing Ukraine, but so yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Look,
crazy, man.
look, look, look. I don't want people to get hurt in the world, but I don't care about Ukraine. I don't care about Russia. I don't care about India. Let them people live their lives.
Right,
Why do
right.
I need to
That's
be
the thing, like
trying to get involved in that?
why other than of course the dollar dominance or whatever, why are we and of course Biden saying the American people are sanctioning Russia? Like, I didn't want no damn sanctions. Like sanctions bases inflation
Mm-mm.
on it's more out of my pocket. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
it's it is what it is, man. But in the meantime, I ain't pressed. I'm gonna keep moving forward, man. But hey,
Yeah.
I appreciate you, man, joining us,
All
man, as
right.
always.
All
Enjoy
right,
enjoy
Mike.
the rest of your day, boss.
All right. One more thing to say
Go
is
ahead.
the only way to beat the system is
Mhm.
to leave the system. That's it. You can't do anything else.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like, that sounds good in theory, but actually, how do you lead a system when you still under the control of governments? Whether you in this government, the next government, if you cross a border somewhere, you're under somebody else's control. Like you're not completely out of the system. Like you're in the world, you're not of it, but you're in it still. So
Mm.
I hear it, but it's like I ain't quite figured out how to do that myself.
Uh,
But
all
yeah,
right, Mike.
minimizing my dependence upon it and not participating when I can, of course I do. So, all right, man, enjoy yourself, boss.
Cool. All right, Mike. We look forward to seeing you down here in Corpus Christi.
Hey, man, I appreciate the opportunity to come down, man. Thank you.
All right, Mike.
Be
Bye
good.
bye.
Yeah, good stuff, man. As always, for those who want to join, feel free to do so. Dennis, I see you trying to join, but you're not able to connect because it says your devices are not connected. So, if you want to, you got to connect. I think a microphone or a camera or something. Anyway, what else is going on? Feel free to throw out some thoughts or some topics, and we can make it work out here. Kamala Harris. I see a lot of Kamala Harris. And isn't it interesting that, Kamala Harris is supposed to be the vice president, but yet she's not really like even a figure that people care about. Like even in the, African American community, like people are not like, to what I've seen, people are not like excited about having the first, black woman vice president. Like every time I see her, she's just giggling and laughing, and even the media now, the liberal media is clowning her. Like they literally take her little segments and turn them into memes, and she gives some of the most dumbed down definitions for things when they ask her questions. It's a joke. Oh my goodness. But yet, and also factor in, it looks like the house is passed, was it 13, I think, $billion worth of aid to Ukraine. And I'm thinking like that 13 billion, it may not go through the Senate, but anyway, but that's how many ever billion they get through. That's not going to help Ukraine. That's going to the pockets of the investors in those biolabs that were destroyed in Ukraine. So it's basically going to be recycled from taxpayer dollars through the banking sector into the politicians, Lindsey Graham and all those other corrupt individuals that are invested in the whole chemical crap in Ukraine. And man, they funneling taxpayer funds still, disguised as aid. Ain't that something? No, Turner said there's no vaccine for Watham is. So is that really a quote from ISP? 100% money laundering. That's all they're doing. And it's literally it is what it is. These cats write the rules, execute the rules, and it's still funneling cash all around the paper, all around the planet. People can't see fiat monetary systems. Say you need inner sight and spiritual empowerment to decipher through truth over falsehood, redeem lawful money pursuant to U.S. Code 41195. Hey, U.S. Code 411. Walrus, appreciate you, man, for sharing that. Yeah, U.S. Code definitely gives us a better insight as to what's lawful and what's legal. Two different ways of looking at things. But a lot of that has to do, like even yesterday, Lala mentioned about going through the process to claim back your sovereignty. And I've followed a couple of individuals that, denounce their, they turned back, they turned in their social security numbers and got some things certified and went through the paperwork process of making it appear on paper as if they're just residents, they're sovereign individuals that reside in the republic of whatever state they live in. But then again, it's like, if it comes down to you having to fight the government in a sense of having to defend yourself and argue, you got to have your words down to a T, and they will catch you on any word that you don't use right. And it's like, it's the fight is worth it. But until more people get a hold of this information and actually look to do the same thing, it's still small individual groups. It's going to be more of a headache than anything else to go that route. But I do commend people who are willing to put up that fight. Spec streaming, so IRS is still going to come for them, right? And that's where they tend to somehow, some way, have some issues with not being able to fight the monster that will definitely come. Anyway, all right, let me see what else is going on. Arm deals still going down. What happens if the debt? What happens to the debt if we default? What do you mean, ISP? Assuming the U.S. sovereign debt or what? Because technically speaking, they can't default in a formal sense just because they can always monetize directly the way that they have been doing and issue the payments to whoever it's owed to as if everything is all fine and good. But in actuality, like Greenspan said, what can it purchase? So I don't see the U.S. ever defaulting, but they're going to inflate away, therefore minimizing your purchasing power altogether. All right, real quick. Let me see. I got looks like Dennis might be joining us. Let me see if I can get him on here. Looks like it's loading. But Dennis, let me know if you hear me, man. All right. So hopefully if he gets on there, we'll try to get him on. But anyway, 10 commandments equal freedom. That's 10 of many more. EU is bullying South African to take these sides on the Ukrainian-Russia war. Yeah, I don't doubt between the West and the EU both trying to get the West and every other nation on board. they're going to pressure the hell out of him and eventually probably sanction him as well. All right, let me see what we got here. Did we get him on here? Mr. Dennis. Hello? Can you hear me? We might get him on here, but hey, Dennis, are you on there? Looks like the internet connection. You on Wi-Fi or what you doing? All right, we'll give it another go, man. Let me know if you can you hear me. So I assume he can see me. Hello, you there? All right, let's try this. Give him another second. Mr. Dennis, are you there, buddy? All right, we'll try it another day. We'll try it a different day. Hopefully you got a better signal, Dennis. We'll try it again tomorrow, hopefully. All right, well, we're approaching our 46-minute mark. I appreciate everybody for hanging out with me. Is that Dennis is chilling? No, I think he's trying to connect, but for some reason his Wi-Fi or whatever is not working. So, but anyway, we're gonna dial back. Appreciate everybody for hanging out with us, and I want to encourage you to continue to keep your head down, eyes up, ears open, and definitely do the best you can with what you have. And along the way, trust the good Lord that He's gonna take care of you like He always has. But other than that, tomorrow afternoon, the Mike and Mario show. Definitely join us tomorrow, and let's talk about events from this past week as well as events moving forward. And continue to do everything you can to prepare as best you can according to what you know how, and trust the Lord along the way. That's what it is. But anyway, be blessed, be safe, and I will see you guys later. Peace. Visit Rethinking the Dollar throughout the day, your place for news on metals, gold, crypto, you name it. Scroll down to the bottom and you get a chance to see the daily videos, the recommended videos, and more importantly, the 5 reasons to unplug from the monetary matrix, with the first one being the awakening period. Step number 1, test your dollar IQ. 10 simple questions, average is 60%, followed up with the alternative perspective with the monetary reports. Consider becoming a supporter of the Rethinking the Dollar platform via Patreon. Get a chance to hang out off air as well as additional information that can't be discussed on YouTube. Any support is helpful. With the crackdown on alternative media, the best thing to do is connect off air. Scroll down to the very bottom. You can find Rethinking the Dollar on Telegram, audio, Facebook, Twitter, Parler, you name it. The most important ones will be the email list where you can get notified weekly, the Discord page, and make sure you connect on Telegram. And last, don't forget to visit the RTD store where you can get merchandise as well as additional information and resources. And most importantly, scroll down to the bottom and get your weight up with all the limited edition rounds only available on the RTD store.